let's talk about Bryce then and move into our next segment, because I have a question for you that I didn't ask you before the show. You have no prep here because I kind of wanted to spring it on you a little bit. So here we go. Producer Megan, could we bring up the graphic on this? The top 10 quarterbacks in college football coming up this season from Andy Staples, who ranks them 1 to 10. We'll run them down. 1 is DJ Lagway from Florida. 2 is Lenora Sellers from South Carolina. 3 is Cade Klubnik from Clemson. 4, Arch Manning from Texas. 5, Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. 6, John Mateer from Oklahoma, who Michigan will see in week 2, transferred from Washington State. 7 is Drew Aller of Penn State. 8 is Sam Levitt from Arizona State. 9, Darian Mensah of Duke, also transferred in there. And then Carson Beck, another transfer from Georgia to Miami. Those are the top 10. My first question to you, Anthony, is will Bryce Underwood be in this group by the end of the season, given that we do think he's going to start right away?
Top 10 quarterbacks in college football.
And there are 133 teams, I believe. And probably some of them will play multiple. So
I'll say this.
150 that'll start.
There's a couple guys on this list I'd like him better than. Top 10 in college football. I'm going to say no, but I think he has a chance to be in that top 15, top 20. I just feel like I don't know that the infrastructure around him is where it needs to be. Now, then again, you could make the same argument for Lagway last year as a true freshman, and he's at the top of the list. Could he be at the top of that list in 2026? Wouldn't surprise me at all.
That was my next question. That was my question: is he going to be in this? So I agree with you that he's not going to be top 10. There are just too many ups and downs that you see with a freshman quarterback. Now, DJ Lagway, so a lot of people like to make these lists. I credit Andy, and I know Ari Wasserman did one as well.
I like Andy putting the Florida guy up top, by the way.
True, and so did Ari, by the way, who's not a Florida guy. That he had him number 1 as well. But Andy, of course, national champion with the Gators. And so a lot of people make these lists before the season, and then we kind of forget about them. They don't make another list, so I hope they do. But I did find one from Bleacher Report after the regular season last year. Lagway only started 6 games. He's nowhere near. I don't even think he's in the top 50 here. Okay, makes complete sense. Now, Underwood's probably going to start the entire season if he stays healthy, as you talked about, or at least start the year as a starter. I don't know that he'd give that job away if he gets that opportunity. So he has more upside here than maybe a Lagway as a freshman. But last season, looking at Bleacher Report's list of the top quarterbacks, no freshman was really anywhere near here. You did have Lenora Sellers, who came out and had an awesome season at South Carolina, who was a redshirt freshman, ended up number 14 on their list. Quinn Ewers was 16. Like there are some good quarterbacks in college football that might not be top 10, that are more veteran, that'll be productive, that'll be on winning teams, that will be in there. So I don't think Bryce will be, but I think he's got a hell of a shot to be in that Lagway or Lenora Sellers spot heading into year 2. I know for Sellers, it's year 3 coming up, but he redshirted as a freshman. And Lagway obviously kind of broke out there and really helped probably save Billy Napier's job.
Yeah, I think the other thing to look at with these lists is not this is the top 10 guys in college football. It's would I prefer any of these guys? How many of these guys would I prefer starting over Bryce Underwood? And on that, the list that's on the screen right now, there's probably 7 of those guys, but I think I'd prefer Bryce to Drew Aller. I prefer Bryce to Carson Beck, who just did not look like himself at the end of the year and then was injured. And Darian Mensah, he's a guy that before all this Bryce stuff was going down, you start to, I had a list of maybe 20 guys. I was like, all right, if they enter the portal, this might be someone to do like a profile on. And he's extremely raw, but I don't know if, I'm not there with him yet either. But most of those guys, Lagway, Norris, Lenora Sellers, Klubnik, Manning, Nussmeier, Mateer, Sam Levitt, I think is very underrated. I think those guys are, fan.
Yeah,
those guys are pretty good. So yeah, it's a good place to be in when you've got this blue chip player, but you've got a lot of work to do with him still. And the nice thing is that, when you have a Bryce and you have a Chip Lindsey coming in, and really they could say what they want about, oh, well, we're still gonna be a smash mouth team. They're building this system from the ground up, basically around Bryce to hopefully attract future Bryces as well. And that's not to say that they're all of a sudden, an air raid team or anything like that, but this is very much like a foundational season. It's like a rookie quarterback in the NFL. Michigan is probably going to lose a game or two this year because it just doesn't get the quarterback play or the offensive play it needs to win a game. But we'll see what that means moving forward. I think you got to take, it's going to be interesting to see how he responds to taking his lumps, because this is a guy in Underwood who, by all accounts, very humble guy, hard worker, has won at every level. I guess the only level that he's played at this point is high school, but is a winner, has won multiple years.
He's probably got some Pop Warner titles.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that in 7th grade you started hearing people in the area talk about. So the pedigree's there. How do you respond when something doesn't go well, doesn't go your way? Because I think everyone has that moment at some point. That's going to be what kind of forges him into what he will ultimately be at Michigan.
100%. I think that's kind of the biggest key probably for the development at this point in someone's career for any quarterback that's coming into college, whether that's their junior year when they, get their first start, or if they start right away. So yes, my first question was probably a dumb one. Will he be top 10? I mean, I think it's possible.
No, I don't. The thing is, I don't think it's dumb, because he's the number 1 overall recruit in the country. And what a lot of people think is the most college ready passer to come out since a Trevor Lawrence. So I don't think it's dumb to say that at all. Like, if he's very good, this is a playoff team, and with a chance to make some noise given the defense that they have. But, you think back to, Dylan Raiola, 5-star last year, takes his lumps a bit. I know Dante Moore was at Oregon last year, but his freshman year, he starts at UCLA, and that was a bit of a circus. So
Arch waited for 2 years.
Arch did wait for 2 years,
but he looked impressive last year at times.
It takes time. There are so many people that, all right, last year was the rough patch year. That was the year they got out of their system, and now it's back to Michigan and getting back to the playoff. And I'm not there with them yet. I think that they might be. I think their window, if we want to talk about getting back into national title conversation, because that's the conversations we should be having with a school like Michigan, it's probably 26-27 for me.
And going back to that list real quick, he's going to do some things this year better than a lot of the guys on the list. It's just more probably the consistency, the ups and downs, like you said, kind of learning how to respond to adversity. Something happens or whatever, you got to fight through and win a shootout one game.
When you're building too, and you have this equity of 2 years ago, you were a program that won a national title, and that there's all this positive momentum. There's fun to be found in the journey. Not so much, obviously you want to win as many games as you can, but I think it's going to be incredibly fun to watch this guy grow and get better too.
No doubt. I mean, you look back after you win the title, and it's all hindsight because now what it all led to. But man, some of the you wouldn't trade a lot of that. So you're completely right. And if Sharon Moore can continue to inspire confidence in the fan base this coming season, I think people are going to appreciate that even more and realize that, okay, you have a good year this year and then bright future after that. So, and a lot of that will have to do with Bryce Underwood.